I stopped answering my mother's calls 3 months before she died. That's the sentence that sits in my throat at family gatherings now, the ones she's not at. The sentence I swallow back when distant cousins ask, "How are you holding up?" with that head tilt of performative sympathy. They want me to cry. They want me to say, "I miss her." They want the story they've already written in their heads. The devoted daughter, destroyed by grief. But grief isn't what keeps me awake at night. It's the memory of her voice on that last voicemail. The one I saved and listened to sometimes when I hate myself enough. "Jessica, honey, it's Mom again. I know you're busy with your important job and your important life. But your sister really needs help with the twins this weekend, and I told her you'd come. Family takes care of family. That's what we do. Call me back." I never called back. 6 years earlier. The first time I said no to my mother, I was 27 years old, and my hands wouldn't stop shaking. We were sitting in her kitchen, the same kitchen where I'd done homework, at the scarred oak table, where she'd taught me to make her mother's apple pie, where the light through the window always hit at exactly 4:17 p.m. and turned everything golden. That light was hitting now, and my coffee had gone cold in my cup, and my mother's face had gone cold too. "I don't understand," she said. Not said, performed. Her voice had that particular timbre she used when she wanted me to know I was disappointing her. A minor key. A funeral dirge for the daughter she thought she'd raised. "You're telling me you won't help your own sister?" "I'm telling you, I can't lend her $12,000. My voice came out steadier than I expected. I'd practiced this. I'd stood in front of my bathroom mirror that morning and rehearsed, watching my reflection mouth the words. "I can't. I won't. This isn't my responsibility. That's my entire savings, Mom. That's the down payment for the condo I've been—" "It's just money, Jessica." She said my name like an accusation. "Rebecca needs this. The business is struggling, and if she doesn't make payroll, then maybe she should close the business." The words came out sharper than I intended. "Mom, this is the 3rd time in 2 years. The boutique isn't working. She needs to cut her losses, and she needs her sister." Mom's coffee cup hit the table harder than necessary. The sound cracked through the golden afternoon like a gunshot. That's what family means, Jessica. We support each other. We don't keep score. We don't hoard our resources while our own flesh and blood suffers. Hoard. The word landed like a slap. I had $12,147 in my savings account. I knew the exact number because I checked it every morning, the way some people check the weather. I'd been saving since I was 23, putting away $300 every paycheck, eating ramen 3 nights a week, buying my clothes at Goodwill, saying no to girls' trips and concert tickets and dinners that cost more than $15. Rebecca had a BMW. Rebecca took the twins to Disney twice a year. Rebecca's boutique had marble counters and a chandelier that cost more than my monthly rent. But I was the one hoarding. "I'm sorry," I said, and I hated how reflexive it was, that apology, how it crawled up my throat without permission. "I can't do this." My mother stood up. The chair legs scraped against the floor. Another sharp sound in that golden light. Then I guess I know where I stand, she said. I guess I know who you really are. She didn't speak to me for 6 weeks. The thing about being the responsible one in a dysfunctional family is that responsibility becomes your identity. It becomes the only way you know how to earn love. I was 8 years old the first time I realized my mother needed things from me that I didn't have words for yet. Rebecca had thrown a tantrum at the grocery store. One of her legendary, floor-thrashing, screaming performances. And Mom had gone quiet in that particular way that meant she was disappearing inside herself. We stood in the cereal aisle, Rebecca wailing on the linoleum, other shoppers staring, judging, and Mom just froze. So I knelt down next to Rebecca. I was 8. She was 5. I said "Hey, Becca, look at me. Look at me. Remember the game we play at home? The quiet game. Want to play it right now? If you can be quiet all the way to the car, I'll give you my Halloween candy. The good candy. The Reese's cups." She stopped crying just like that. Hiccuped once, twice, then went silent. And my mother looked at me with something I didn't recognize then, but understand now. Relief that bordered on resentment. Relief that I could do what she couldn't. Resentment that she needed me to. "Good girl, Jessica," she said, and touched my hair. And I glowed with it. That praise, that recognition, that brief, shining moment of being seen. I got addicted to that feeling. For the next 19 years, I chased it like a drug. Rebecca called me 2 days after the kitchen conversation. It was 11 p.m. I was in bed, reading, trying to enjoy the silence of my tiny studio apartment. My beautiful, mine, paid for by me studio apartment, with its second-hand furniture and its single window that looked out onto an alley. But it was mine. Jess? Her voice was small, younger than her 24 years. Mom told me, "You said no." My chest tightened. "Rebecca? It's okay. I get it. You have your own life." She paused. The pause was deliberate. I could hear the calculation in it. "I just don't know what I'm going to do. If I can't make payroll this week, I'll have to let Sarah and Jennifer go, and Sarah's a single mom, and Jennifer just got diagnosed with—" "Stop!" The word came out harder than I intended. "Don't do that." "Don't do what?" "Don't make this about them. Don't make this about me destroying other people's lives. This is your business, Rebecca. Your responsibility." Silence then. Wow. Okay, I guess Mom's right. I guess you really have changed. That sentence. That fucking sentence. It wormed its way into my brain and lived there, poisoning everything. You've changed. As if who I'd been before, the girl who said yes, who gave and gave and gave until there was nothing left, was somehow better, somehow more real. I wanted to scream into the phone, "Yes, I've changed. I changed because I had to. I changed because I was dying." But I didn't say that. I said, "I'm sorry you're going through this. I really am. But I can't give you that money." She hung up without saying goodbye. The next 3 months, my mother waged a campaign of strategic silence, broken by carefully deployed guilt grenades. A text on Sunday morning. At church, people asking about you. Hard to explain why my daughter doesn't visit anymore. An email on my birthday. another year older. Hope you're happy with your choices. A voicemail after Rebecca's boutique finally closed. She's devastated. Lost everything. I hope your savings account keeps you warm at night. My therapist, the one I'd started seeing 2 years earlier when the panic attacks got bad, had warned me this would happen. When you set boundaries with people who benefit from you having none, Dr. Morrison had said, her hands folded on her desk, her voice calm and clinical, they'll punish you. They'll make you feel cruel for choosing yourself. That's not love, Jessica. That's manipulation. I'd nodded. I'd understood intellectually, but understanding something intellectually and surviving it emotionally are different countries separated by an ocean of self-doubt. 4 years earlier, I met David at a work conference in Austin. He was a financial advisor. I was an accountant. We bonded over complicated Excel spreadsheets and a shared appreciation for really good coffee. He was steady, calm, the kind of man who kept his promises and showed up on time and remembered the little things. On our third date, I told him about my family. So basically, he said, stirring sugar into his cappuccino, they're mad at you for having boundaries? It's more complicated than that. Is it? He looked at me over the rim of his cup. His eyes were very blue, very direct. Because from where I'm sitting, it sounds like they're mad that their ATM grew legs and walked away. I laughed. It came out bitter. That's harsh. Maybe. But is it wrong? I thought about that. About the years of emergency loans and last-minute bailouts and just this one time, please. I promise I'll pay you back. About the birthday parties I'd missed because I was working double shifts to replenish my savings. About the apartments I hadn't rented because I needed to keep $5,000 in reserve in case Rebecca called crying at 2 a.m. No, I said quietly. It's not wrong. David reached across the table and took my hand. His palm was warm, solid. You deserve better than this, he said. You know that, right? I didn't know that. Not really. But I wanted to believe him. We got married 2 years later. Small ceremony, 60 people, my mother and Rebecca in the front row, wearing matching expressions of martyr tolerance. Mom had wanted me to pay for Rebecca to bring the twins, airline tickets, hotel, meals, the whole package. I'd said no. She'd called me selfish. David had overheard the conversation. That night, getting ready for bed in our hotel room, he said, I need you to hear something and I need you to really listen. I looked at him in the bathroom mirror. My wedding makeup was smeared. I looked exhausted. Your mother is never going to approve of your choices, he said. Never. Because your choices don't benefit her. She doesn't want you to be happy. She wants you to be useful. That's not... It is true. He turned me around to face him. Jessica, baby, I love you. But I can't watch you destroy yourself trying to earn love from someone who's incapable of giving it. I wanted to argue. I wanted to defend her. But something in me was so tired. What do? I whispered. You stop trying, he said. You just stop. 2 years earlier. The call came at 6:37 a.m. on a Tuesday. Rebecca, crying so hard I couldn't understand her at first. "Slow down," I said, sitting up in bed, heart hammering. "Becca, slow down. What's wrong?" "It's Marcus, her husband. He left. He fucking left, Jess. Took half the money in our account and moved in with his girlfriend. And I don't. How am I supposed to pay rent? How am I supposed to feed the twins? Mom can't help. She's already covering my car payment and I don't have anyone else and I need... How much?" The words came out automatic. Pavlovian. A trained response. 10,000 just until I can get on my feet. Just until... No. Silence. Long enough that I thought the call had dropped. "What?" "I can't do this anymore, Rebecca. I can't keep rescuing you. But I'm your sister." Her voice cracked. "You're just going to let me end up on the street?" "You're not going to end up on the street. You have options. You can move in with Mom. You can get a job. You can... A job?" She spat the word like it was obscene. "Doing what? I haven't worked in 6 years. I have 2 kids. Who's going to hire me?" "Lots of people with kids have jobs," I said. My hands were shaking. "Lots of people figure it out. You're smart, Rebecca. You're capable. You've just never had to be because I've always... So this is my fault? I'm the problem?" "I didn't say that. You're saying I'm lazy. You're saying I'm a failure. I'm saying I can't save you from the consequences of your choices anymore." She called me a bitch. Then she called me a cunt. Then she told me I was dead to her. Then she hung up. I sat there in bed, phone in my lap, watching the sunrise through our bedroom window, and I felt something crack open in my chest. Not sadness, not guilt, relief. Terrible, shameful, exhilarating relief. My mother called 3 hours later. "I hope you're proud of yourself," she said. No preamble, no greeting. "Your sister is hysterical, completely falling apart, and you just..." "What?" "Decided she doesn't matter." "Mom, do you know what it's like for me? To have one daughter who can't keep her life together and another daughter who won't help? Do you know how that looks? What people think?" There it was. The truth, underneath everything else. What people think, not, "Do you know how much Rebecca is hurting?" Not, "Do you know how scared she is?" What people think. "I'm sorry you're embarrassed," I said. My voice was very calm, very cold. "But this isn't about you." "Of course it's about me. I'm your mother. Family problems are my problems." "Then solve them," I said. "You solve them, Mom. You bail her out this time. You give her the money. You let her move in with you. You raise the twins while she gets her shit together. You do it." "I'm 62 years old, Jessica. I'm retired. I don't have..." "You have a 4-bedroom house. You have a pension. You have savings. You have options. But it's easier to call me, isn't it? It's easier to make me the bad guy." She was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke again, her voice was different, smaller. "I thought you loved us." That sentence, that perfect surgical sentence designed to find the softest part of me and sink in like a knife. "I do love you," I said, "but I'm done showing it by destroying myself." I hung up 18 months earlier. Thanksgiving at my mother's house was a tradition, non-negotiable, sacred. The whole family came. Rebecca and the twins, Aunt Marie and her kids, Uncle Tom, Grandma Dorothy, before she died. That year, I didn't go. David and I flew to Mexico instead. We stayed at a small resort on the beach, ate fresh fish, watched the sunset turn the ocean into liquid gold. We didn't talk about my family. We didn't check our phones. We just existed. On Thanksgiving Day, sitting on a balcony with fruity drinks that came with little umbrellas, David said, "How do you feel?" I thought about it. Really thought about it. "Lighter," I said. He nodded, smiled, reached for my hand. My phone buzzed. A text from my mother. "Empty chair at the table where you should be. Hope it was worth it." I deleted it without responding. The thing about setting boundaries is that it's not a one-time event. It's a constant, exhausting, daily choice. Every call you don't answer. Every guilt trip you refuse to take. Every time you choose yourself over their comfort. Over the next year, the calls became less frequent, then occasional, then rare. My mother's birthday came and went. I sent a card. She didn't call to thank me. Christmas, Easter, Mother's Day, the twins' birthday party that I wasn't invited to. The silence was heavy, oppressive. It sat on my chest at night and whispered, "You're a terrible daughter. You're a terrible sister. You're selfish and cold and broken." But underneath the guilt, underneath the shame, something else was growing. Peace. Strange, unfamiliar peace. The kind that comes from not waiting for the next crisis, from not checking your bank account with dread, from not feeling your shoulders tense every time your phone rings. David and I bought our house. 3 bedrooms, good school district, big backyard. We talked about kids. We planned our future. We built a life that was ours, not commandeered by emergency, not hostage to someone else's poor choices. And slowly, quietly, I started to understand what Dr. Morrison had been trying to tell me all along. You can't save people who don't want to be saved. You can only drown with them. 8 months earlier, the diagnosis came in March. Stage 4, pancreatic cancer. My mother. They gave her 6 months, maybe 8, if she responded well to treatment. Rebecca called me. First time we'd spoken in almost 2 years. "Mom's sick," she said. No preamble. Her voice was hollow. "Really sick, Jess. It's cancer." My hands went cold, that particular ice that starts in your fingertips and works its way up your arms, your chest, until your whole body is freezing from the inside out. How bad? Bad. They're saying maybe 6 months. I sat down on the couch. David was at work. The house was quiet, except for the hum of the refrigerator in the kitchen. "She wants to see you," Rebecca said. I closed my eyes. "Okay? Okay? That's it, just okay? What do you want me to say?" "I don't know, maybe that you're sorry. Maybe that you feel bad about abandoning us for 2 years." The anger in her voice was familiar, comfortable even, like putting on an old, worn coat. "I didn't abandon you," I said quietly. "I set boundaries. There's a difference." "Not from where I'm sitting," Then maybe you're sitting in the wrong place. She hung up. I went to see my mother the following Saturday. She was still living in the house, the one with the golden afternoon light in the kitchen. She'd lost weight. Her skin had that papery quality that comes with serious illness. She looked older, frailer, human in a way that made my throat tight. Jessica. She said my name like a prayer or an accusation. I still couldn't tell the difference. Hi, Mom. We sat in the living room. The couch I'd grown up on, with its floral pattern and its worn cushions. Everything looked the same and completely different. I'm glad you came, she said. Of course I came. I wasn't sure you would. She folded her hands in her lap. Given everything. I didn't know what to say to that. Sorry felt wrong. Not sorry felt worse. Rebecca needs you, Mom said, after a moment. When I'm gone, she's going to need you. There it was. Even now, even dying, Rebecca needs you. Mom, she struggled so much, Jessica. You know that. She's not strong like you. She needs someone to lean on. She needs to learn to stand on her own. My mother's face hardened. Even sick, even weak, she could summon that look. The one that said I was failing her. That's easy for you to say. You've always been the strong one, the smart one. Things come easy to you. I laughed. Actually laughed. The sound surprised both of us. Easy? Mom, do you know how hard I worked? Do you know how many nights I stayed up late? How many extra shifts I pulled? How many times I sacrificed what I wanted so I could be there for everyone else? We never asked you to do that. You did. Every time you called with an emergency. Every time you made me feel guilty for having boundaries. You asked me to do it without ever saying the words. She looked away, out the window at the front yard, at the garden she'd planted 20 years ago and maintained religiously until last month. I'm dying, she said quietly. Can't we put the past behind us? What does that mean? Putting the past behind us? It means you forgive me. You forgive Rebecca. We all move forward. Move forward to what? To me taking care of Rebecca forever? To me giving up my life again? She's your sister. I know. My voice cracked. I know she's my sister, Mom. But that doesn't mean I have to set myself on fire to keep her warm. My mother turned back to me. Her eyes were wet. I don't understand you anymore, she said. I don't understand when you became so hard. Hard. Not healthy, not strong, not self-respecting. Hard. I stood up. I should go. Jessica, I love you, Mom, I do. But I can't be who you want me to be. I can't go back to being that girl who said yes to everything. She almost died, do you understand that? I almost died. I left before she could respond. 4 months earlier. The calls started coming regularly after that. My mother, Rebecca, even Aunt Marie. All with the same message, variations on a theme. Family takes care of family. She's dying, Jessica. Can't you put your anger aside? You're going to regret this. What kind of daughter abandons her mother at the end? Each call left bruises I couldn't see. Each voicemail was a small violence. Dr. Morrison helped me through it. They want you to feel guilty, she said. They want you to believe that love means obliterating yourself. But that's not love, Jessica. That's martyrdom. And martyrs don't get happy endings. They just get dead. I thought about that a lot. About all the years I'd spent martyring myself on the altar of their needs. About how close I'd come to disappearing entirely. My mother went into hospice in June. Rebecca called. She's asking for you. I'll come, I said, and I did. 3 times a week, I sat beside my mother's bed and held her hand and listened to her talk about the past. About my father, who died when I was 10. About her own mother, who'd been critical and cold. About all the ways she tried her best and still fallen short. She never apologized, not directly. But sometimes, in the spaces between words, I heard something that might have been regret. I wanted you to be happy, she said once, her voice weak and papery. I did. I didn't know how to want that without needing you. It was the closest she ever came to understanding. 3 months before she died, the voicemail incident. Rebecca needed money again, $4,000 this time. The twins needed school supplies, clothes, the rent was late, the car needed repairs. My mother called me from hospice. Please, Jessica, just this once. Help your sister. I'm begging you. Mom, we've talked about this. I'm dying. Her voice broke. This is my last wish, my dying wish. Help your sister. The manipulation was so naked, so obvious, that I almost laughed. Almost. No, I said. The silence that followed was vast, arctic. Then I guess I don't have a daughter, she said, and hung up. That was the last time we spoke. She left 3 more voicemails over the next week. I didn't listen to them for a month. When I finally did, late at night, alone in my kitchen while David slept upstairs, they were all variations of the same message. Family takes care of family. You're selfish. You've changed. I hope you're happy. The last one ended with, I thought I raised you better than this. She died on a Tuesday in September. Heart failure, secondary to cancer. Rebecca was with her. I was at work, reviewing quarterly reports, when my phone rang. She's gone, Rebecca said, flat, emotionless. Okay, I said. Okay? That's all you can say? I'm sorry for your loss. Our loss. She was your mother too. I know. Rebecca made a sound that might have been a laugh or a sob. You didn't even come to say goodbye. I said goodbye 3 months ago. She hung up on me. Because you wouldn't help me. Because you're so fucking selfish, you'd let your sister and her kids suffer while you sit in your big house with your perfect husband and your perfect life. I was quiet for a long moment. Then, Rebecca, I'm sorry Mom died. I really am, but she was wrong about a lot of things. And I'm done apologizing for not destroying myself to prove I love you. She called me a monster. Then she hung up. I went to the funeral. David offered to come with me. But I went alone. Some things you have to face by yourself. The service was small. 60 people maybe. aunts and uncles and cousins I hadn't seen in years. They looked at me like I was a stranger or a criminal, the daughter who couldn't even be bothered to visit her dying mother. Rebecca gave the eulogy. She talked about sacrifice and devotion and unconditional love. She talked about what family means, about being there for each other no matter what. She looked directly at me when she said, "Some people forget that. Some people decide their comfort is more important than their family." I didn't cry. I sat in the back row and felt nothing except a distant, muted sadness for the relationship we'd never had. The mother who'd loved me conditionally, the sister who'd never seen me as anything except a resource to extract. At the reception, Aunt Marie cornered me by the coffee. "You should be ashamed," she said, loud enough for people to hear. "Your mother died heartbroken because of you." "No," I said quietly. "She died heartbroken because she spent her life trying to control people through guilt. That's not my shame to carry." Aunt Marie's face went red. "You ungrateful—" "I paid for 15 years of Rebecca's mistakes," I said. My voice was calm, clinical. I gave up my 20s, making sure everyone else was okay. I almost lost myself completely. And when I finally said enough, I became the villain. So if you need someone to blame, fine. Blame me, but I'm done apologizing for choosing to survive. I left before she could respond. The real surprise came 3 weeks later. My mother had left everything to Rebecca. The house, the savings, the small life insurance policy. Everything. The lawyer read the will in his office. Rebecca sat across from me, wearing black, her face carefully neutral. To my daughter Jessica, the lawyer read, "I leave my disappointment. She has everything she needs." She made that clear. Rebecca didn't even try to hide her satisfaction. I signed the paperwork. Didn't contest anything. Just let it go. Outside the lawyer's office, Rebecca caught up with me. "So that's it," she said. "You're not even going to fight." "Fight for what? A house full of painful memories and enough money to bail you out for maybe 6 months? It's not about the money. It's always about the money, Rebecca." I looked at her, really looked at her, and saw someone I didn't recognize anymore. Or maybe someone I'd never really known. "You're going to sell that house. You're going to spend that insurance money. And in a year, maybe 2, you're going to be right back where you started. And you'll have no one left to call." Her face went pale. "Fuck you." "I hope you figure it out," I said. And I meant it. I really do. I hope you learn to stand on your own. I hope you find whatever it is you're looking for. I'm not looking for anything. Yes, you are. You're looking for someone to save you, but Rebecca, I reached out, almost touched her arm, then pulled back. No one can save you. You have to save yourself. I walked away, got in my car, drove home to David and our house and our life. And I didn't look back. 6 months later, the letter came on a Wednesday. Rebecca, in her looping, childish handwriting. "Jess, I'm writing this because my therapist says I should. She says I need to take accountability or whatever. I sold the house. You were right. The money's almost gone. I spent it on stupid shit. Trying to make the twins happy. Trying to keep up appearances. Mom's life insurance lasted 4 months. I got a job. It's just retail, nothing fancy. I hate it. But I'm doing it. The twins are in after-school care. I'm figuring it out. I'm not writing to apologize. I'm still mad at you. I still think you're cold, but I'm also starting to understand some things. About Mom, about how she raised us, about what she expected from you. My therapist says what she did to you was parentification. That it wasn't fair, that you deserved better. I don't know if I believe that yet, but I'm thinking about it. Anyway, this isn't an apology. It's just, I don't know, an acknowledgement that maybe things were more complicated than I wanted to believe. I read the letter 3 times. Then I folded it carefully and put it in my desk drawer. Maybe someday I'd write back. Maybe someday we'd have a different kind of relationship, one built on mutual respect instead of emergency and need. But not today. Today, I had a life to live. A husband who loved me. A house that was mine. A future that belonged to me. 1 year later, I'm pregnant. 13 weeks. A girl. We're going to name her Caroline, after David's grandmother. When I told Dr. Morrison, she smiled. How do you feel? Terrified, I said, honestly. What if I turn out like my mother? What if I... You won't, she said. Do you know how I know? I shook my head. Because you're asking the question, because you're aware, because you've done the work. She leaned forward. Jessica, you broke the cycle. That's not easy. That's not common. You should be proud. Proud. Strange word. I'd spent so many years feeling ashamed. Ashamed of my boundaries. Ashamed of my needs. Ashamed of choosing myself. But maybe she was right. Maybe there was something to be proud of after all. Not the rejection itself, not the estrangement, not the loss, but the survival, the rebuilding, the slow, hard work of learning to love myself the way I'd loved everyone else. Now, sometimes I still think about that last voicemail. I thought I raised you better than this, and I think maybe you didn't. Maybe I raised myself. Maybe I became better despite you. Not because of you. There's grief in that. Real, genuine grief for the mother I needed and never had. For the sister I wanted and couldn't save. For the family that existed only in imagination, never in reality. But there's also freedom. Freedom to build something new. Something healthier. Something real. David and I talk about what kind of parents we want to be. We talk about boundaries and autonomy and raising a child who knows her worth, isn't contingent on what she can do for others. We talk about chosen family, the friends who showed up when my blood family disappeared. The people who loved me, not for what I could give them, but for who I was. Those are the people who'll be at Caroline's birth. Those are the people who'll be her aunts and uncles in spirit, if not in blood. That's the family I'm building now. The last time I drove past my mother's old house, Rebecca sold it to a young couple with 2 kids. I felt something unexpected. Not sadness, not anger, not even nostalgia. Just closure. The golden afternoon light was hitting the kitchen window the way it always had. The garden was overgrown but alive. The house looked loved. Someone else's story was happening there now. Someone else's childhood. Someone else's memories. Mine were finished, done, complete. And I was free to write the next chapter however I wanted. I stopped answering my mother's calls 3 months before she died. People will judge me for that. They'll call me cold, hard, unforgiving. They'll say I should have tried harder, sacrificed more, been better. Let them. I know the truth. I spent 15 years trying to earn love through sacrifice. I gave until I had nothing left. I set myself on fire and wondered why I couldn't stay warm. And then I stopped. I chose myself, my health, my future, my life. My mother called that selfish. I call it survival. And Caroline, sweet growing Caroline, who kicks in my belly and reminds me that the future is unwritten, she'll grow up knowing that love doesn't mean martyrdom, that family isn't a prison, that you can honor your roots without being strangled by them. She'll grow up free, and that, more than anything, more than inheritance or approval or deathbed reconciliation. That is how I honor my mother's memory, not by becoming her, but by refusing to. Not by repeating the cycle, but by breaking it. Not by answering those calls, but by building a life worth protecting. The guilt still comes sometimes, late at night, in quiet moments, but so does something else. Peace. Hard-won, hard-earned peace. And in the end, that's enough. It has to be. 3 years later, Rebecca showed up at my door on a Saturday morning. I hadn't seen her since the funeral. 3 years. Caroline was almost 2, chasing butterflies in the backyard. "Hi," Rebecca said. She looked different, older, tired, but steadier somehow. "Hi," I said. "Can we talk?" I almost said no, almost closed the door, but something in her face, something raw and real, made me pause. "Okay." We sat on the porch. Caroline's laughter drifted from the backyard. David was watching her, giving her space. "I'm in therapy," Rebecca said. No preamble. Real therapy this time, twice a week. I'm working on a lot of stuff. "That's good." "I'm not here to ask for anything." She looked at me directly. "I'm here to say I'm sorry. For all of it. For using you. For taking advantage of your kindness. For never seeing you as a person, just as someone who could solve my problems." I didn't say anything. Couldn't. "Mom fucked us both up," she continued. "In different ways. She made you the caretaker and me the victim, and neither of us got to just be sisters, be ourselves." "No," I said quietly. "We didn't. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't expect us to suddenly be close, but I wanted you to know I get it now. Why you had to walk away, why you couldn't save me." "I wanted to save you," I said. "God, Rebecca, I wanted it so much. But I couldn't. I can't. Only you can do that." "I know," she smiled sadly. "I'm learning." We sat in silence for a while. Not comfortable, but not hostile either. Just 2 women who used to be sisters, trying to figure out what they could be now. "Would you," Rebecca hesitated, "would you want to try again, slowly?" Just coffee sometimes. No expectations. I thought about it, really thought about it. Thought about the years of pain, the years of resentment, the price I'd paid for loving her the wrong way. But also thought about Caroline, about the family I wanted her to see, about grace and growth, and the possibility that people could change. Maybe, I said, coffee once a month, boundaries intact, no emergencies, no bailouts. Boundaries intact, she agreed. I promise. We shook hands like business partners. It wasn't much. But it was a start. Maybe family isn't just blood. Maybe it's not just choice either. Maybe it's something you build slowly, carefully, with intention and boundaries and mutual respect. Maybe it's something you can destroy and rebuild if you're brave enough to try. I don't know yet. We're still figuring it out. But for the first time in my life, I'm figuring it out on my terms. And that makes all the difference. Caroline calls from the backyard. Mama, butterfly. I stand up, look at Rebecca. Do you want to meet her? Rebecca's eyes fill with tears. Really? Really? But Rebecca, I pause at the door. If you hurt her, if you use her the way you used me, we're done. Forever. Understand? I understand. We walk into the backyard together. David looks up, questioning. I nod. He relaxes. Caroline runs to me, butterfly cupped in her small hands. Look, Mama, look! That's beautiful, baby. I kneel down. Caroline, this is your Aunt Rebecca. Hi, Aunt Becca, Caroline waves, butterfly forgotten. Rebecca kneels too. Hi, Caroline. You can call me Becca. That's what your mom used to call me. Okay. Caroline is already running off, chasing something new. We watch her go. My daughter. My miracle. My future. Built on the ashes of my past. Built on boundaries and hard choices and the courage to say no. Built on love, real love. The kind that honors both people, not sacrifice, love. And that finally is enough.